I think we can get started.
Yeah.
Yep, I think this is good. Yeah, people can keep funneling
Rosemary.
in.
Rosemary.
Okay. Guess we can get kicked off and we'll introduce everybody. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll keep this to an hour. And excited to see you all, at least your names, and hoping to connect with you all individually. We'll get kicked off and introduce ourselves. Bree?
Yeah, hi guys. I'm just excited to be able to connect with people. This is a webinar, so we're not gonna be able to kind of interact as much as we used to. We'll try to take everybody off mute at the end so we can all chat it up if we want to. It's good to see some partners on here, as well as some of our employers and even some new employers on here. Like I said, again, I think we're just doing a quick check-in with you guys on what's going on at AJAC. And so I'm really excited to have this whole team pulled together so that we can share some new things that are coming. I'm Bree Durham. I'm the Director of Business Development and Programs for AJAC. So I help kind of run all the business development for the organization, and then also help build training programs and maintain the training programs that we have in place across the state. So I will pass it off to Erin.
I'm Erin Williams, and I am the Regional Program Manager for kind of North Puget Sound. We're calling it North Seattle up to the border. And been with AJAC for over 6 years now. It's been an awesome time. We're going to pick over to Heather.
Hi, everyone. Oh, you know what? I did not update my name on this slide. Well, now you can see that we, just copy the slides from the last roundtable over. But my name is Heather Fisher now. I'm the Manager of Business Development in Central Washington. So my region, I'm based out of Yakima. I also help out in the Tri-Cities, Moses Lake, and I'm expanding into Wenatchee. So I'm excited to be here.
Next slide. Thank you. I am Amy Suter. I am one of our also regional program managers, and I cover where Erin kind of stops, and we split a lot of areas. So sometimes you may get her, you may get me. I go South Seattle down to the Olympia area. So it's our kind of central Puget Sound area. And I will hand it over to Dennis.
Good morning. I'm Dennis Matson. I'm the Regional Program Manager for Eastern Washington, and I think all of Idaho, as we're trying to expand down into the Boise area. In fact, that's where Heather and I are headed out later this afternoon to attend one of their fairs down there. A shout out to all my former Yakima colleagues. With that, Damien.
I am Damien Majesta. I am the Regional Program Manager for Southwest Washington. So that means Olympia down. Amy and I kind of split-ish the Olympia area. So I'm based out of Olympia. I go down south to Vancouver and into Portland and Oregon. And I'm happy to see all you here today.
And just before you jump in, Damien, we're going to enter in a poll. People can start answering while we continue on into the presentation. So take a second to look at that. It won't take more than a second of your time, and then we'll have Damien continue. Thank you. Cool. Go for it.
Okay, so who are we? AJAC, great question. So we're a nonprofit organization. We were started in 2008 as the state kind of recognized the need to develop more talent in our manufacturing pipeline. So we're funded by, private and grants and by the state. And really what we're trying to do is to create an industry-driven apprenticeship programs to help develop our upcoming talent and our current talent. So our incumbent workers and that sort of thing. So we started primarily in aerospace. That's our kind of bread and butter, but we have since expanded out into basically every manufacturing sector because the skills really are transferable, and we recognize the need for developing those talent pipelines to create that 21st century workforce. We desperately need it. So that's who we are and why we're here. Next slide. So we have some new things coming up at AJAC. These are pretty kind of exciting stuff. So we have hired a new youth program manager, and that's Creed. Creed taught for 20 years at Lindbergh High School. Prior to teaching, he had his own business in cabinetry and custom furniture making. He's taught subjects including intro to woodworking, design, manufacturing, and core plus aerospace and construction programs. So he knows the sector very well. And he's also, for the past 4 years, taught AJAC classes for youth apprenticeships. So he's a pretty recent addition and a great addition to our team. He has a ton of expertise in teaching industrial machinery safety and is very familiar with our AJAC curriculum. So his job is to help us expand and support the youth apprenticeships programs, and we're thrilled to have him on board. Next is our anti-harassment training. So all of our apprentices participate in anti-harassment training in accordance with, L&I. This consists of a video that we watch and an engaging discussion afterwards. So it's pretty important that we do this. We can also provide training for the employers if they want it on site as well. We have some new technology rolling out. We are testing Tooling U for some of our programs. We'll be implementing Solid Professor for our CNC Programmer pathway. There'll be more details on this later in the presentation. We will be offering Engine for English language learners, and this is a tool designed specifically to help English language learners communicate in a manufacturing setting, right? Pretty important stuff. Then for our classes, this is pretty cool. I'm like, this is like Star Trek stuff. We're in Star Trek times. So we have, Time Kettle, which is a live translation headset. And so this is a small in-ear real-time translation device for use in the classroom. So for folks who might not be as English proficient, this allows real-time translation straight into your head, into your ear. So it's kind of cool. We look for an employer survey coming in December. We want to hear back from our employers and our partners. It's really important. So look for that. Answer it if you would. And then there will be a tuition increase. And this is where I will turn it over to Bree to kind of explain the details.
Bree, you're muted.
Thank you. Just a little bit on, yes, if employers want to use Engine, if you've got a group of staff that want to skill up and just brush up on English language learning skills, just broad ones, or digital literacy, or it could be manufacturing specific kind of language, we do have a program that we can enroll them in. It's self-paced, but it's really, really good program and format, and we can definitely partner with you guys on setting that up and testing it out at your site if that's something you guys want to do. You don't have to be a part of like the apprenticeship program or have somebody signed in to use that function. We just want to make sure we're elevating people in the industry so they can access maybe our programs later on once they feel a little more comfortable. So and then Time Kettle, just so you guys know, really cool, but it's like almost like AirPods, and it's able to translate what the teacher's saying in, I think, about 15 different languages right now. And so that's been, we've been having some success with that. And then Tooling U, if you guys have niche things that you need training on, we're happy to maybe partner with you guys on and what that might look like with the Tooling U catalog as we're rolling that out. So, and yes, there is a tuition increase. As you all know, inflation happens. And so college raised their tuition this year to anywhere between $320 to $330. And then they're also starting to tack on some lab fees here and there. And so AJAC had to increase their rates. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on it. It has changed. Some people, I'm not sure, know that it has. Some people probably recognize that it did. If you have questions, you can always reach out to us on that. But we're not anticipating raising this for the next couple of years. So hopefully this won't have to be an increase that we're doing every year. We want to do these every 3 or 4 years, not every year. So just so you know, that's helping kind of with those training costs. So I think that's it.
And Erin, do you want to share the poll results real quick? we can talk about this? That's kind of
Sure.
fun, just to see where how many apprentices people have, and um,
Did that work if I just put share?
you could say share results.
I did that. Did you see me?
I am seeing it. It popped
Okay,
up
cool.
on my screen.
Sorry, because I'm
So
sharing. I can't see.
Yeah, so it shows that we're here to support both the small and the large. You have one person, we're happy to support you with one. If you have 6 or more, like, that is what we're here for. So we're really excited to be continuing to support all of you as you bring training to your facility. We just quickly always want to remind people we have a large suite of apprenticeship occupations. The one specifically we'll be talking about today is CNC Programmer, but we continue to bring more to you. And so if there's a need that you are looking for, please reach out to us and let us know, because we're always looking for feedback from you directly. In the sector, you're working in the space and know what you kind of training you're looking for. So please just let us know anytime you've got something that might be a great addition to our suite of occupations. Next slide, please. So, as we said, as we're always bringing new things to the table, today we're going to talk about CNC Programmer. It is our brand new, kind of retooled. We've had it on the books, but really felt we needed to kind of revamp it a little bit to make sure that people were getting the right balance of the work they were doing and the classes they were going to take. So we are currently now enrolling for winter quarter. We're super excited. So if you've got someone that you want to enroll, please let us know right away. And we'll talk about in brief, or more specifically here in the next few slides. But we also want to talk about future programs. We've been talking and working through airframe and power plant A&P mechanic. So we're hoping to bring this online in 2024. It's something we've kind of had in the past, but we've really found some great partners that we're going to work with. So it's just something new. We always want to talk about. We're always bringing new things to the table. Awesome. Next slide, please. So here, let's talk about our kind of what we came here today is our new revamped CNC Programmer apprenticeship. It's we hear from a lot of people that a lot of your employees who have kind of completed the manufacturing or the maintenance machinist program are looking to really get into that next step. So this is a great offering for your employees that have experience that really want to grow beyond what they've already learned. So it's a CNC Programmer. Obviously, they develop programs to control the machines or processing of metals or plastic parts by automatic machine tools. We all know they're the guys working at the computers to bring those programs to life to your machines. Our program consists of 6,000 OJT hours. And those hours, which I'll show a little bit kind of how they're broken out, is really made so they continue to do the work they're doing, the machinist, and grow in that skill, and also get experience in the programming office. And that it includes 6 online classes, which is great. All the classes are online, so they can attend these programs from anywhere across the state. It does not matter. We have kind of a prerequisite. This is really a program designed for people that have done the work for a little while in the machinist experience. So perfect for those graduates of our AJAC machinist program, and they're looking to take the next step in their career. But if they weren't an AJAC machinist graduate of ours, maybe they've been in your shop for a while and they have a lot of experience under their belt and they want to grow, but they haven't been an AJAC a graduate. They just need 5 years of machinist experience or a great recommendation from you as the employer. We can talk through with you what are the skills they have, so make sure they're ready to take on this next step. We also will talk about there could be 3 additional classes they want to take, just so they make sure they're well set up and prepared for our classes. And we'll do a talk about if they need to take an additional 1,000 hours of OJT training. So we can work with you for those people who haven't been a AJAC machinist graduate. There's just a little form we fill out and we'll work through it. Next slide. So obviously our programs are all made up of classes and on-the-job training. So the classes they will take, they're all online, is CAD fundamentals, design for manufacturability, manufacturing processes related to project management, basic toolpaths for mill and lathes, multi-axis indexing, and advanced CNC programming techniques. They're things that we all know that they need to learn, and they're going to really build a great foundation for that CNC programmer. Then I just quickly included kind of the work codes there. If you want to go back one slide. There's just so you can see kind of how the work is broken up. That's what we can talk about. They can still continue to do the great work they're doing as a machinist and grow into the CNC programmer. So it still gives them hours that helps that current job they're doing and can get hours into the new job. So they don't have to be in the office the whole time in the programming office or in front of the computer. It's a nice kind of in between as they grow into that role. So we wanted to make sure you're not taking your best machinist off this machine floor. It allows them to continue to do some of that work and get some skills in that. So perfect. Next slide. Any questions really quick before we hear from Stephen? He's our MA instructor in Yakima. He's going to be has experience with this and will be teaching some of these classes. Any quick questions for anyone before we get next steps? Well, let me introduce Stephen Miser, our new MA instructor in Yakima. He can talk about more specifics.
Sure. Hey, everybody. Again, my name's Stephen Miser. So I'm a Manufacturing Academy instructor in Yakima, and I will be helping out with the CNC programming instruction. So I'm going to go over some of the software we're going to be using. We will be using for the CAD CAM, we're going to be using Fusion 360. So Fusion 360, as everybody knows, is kind of the up and comer lately. A lot of new companies that are just starting out and older companies are switching over to it. It is a design, engineering, and manufacturing software all in one. So you can design, engineer it, program it, and send it to the machine to manufacture parts all in one. It's an all-in-one software. We're also going to be using Solid Professor. So Solid Professor is an online learning platform. It has many, many hours of online tutorials that we'll be using pretty heavily in the first course of the CNC programming. It's a great program. The students will be able to go over and over and over courses if they need to. It also gears them up to take the Fusion 360 user certification exam, which is an Autodesk exam, and it's industry recognized certification. Yeah, so it's a pretty good program. We'll be using that pretty extensively in the first course.
And I think the other thing, thanks, Stephen, for just want to add is that with Solid Professor, they'll have a 2-year subscription to be able to access that the whole time that they're with us. And so it also has different tutorials for SolidWorks and even CATIA on there. So if they're in the programming office and they're stuck on different things and you guys use different platforms, obviously industry kind of platforms, SolidWorks has step-by-steps on different things that they get stuck on in different modules that they can go through to kind of spool them up or research out what they need to kind of get whatever job done you might have assigned to them. So we went with Fusion 360. I know everybody's asked like why that over the other. To be honest, the educational licensing and getting the student licensing can be really expensive with different platforms and providers. And so Fusion 360 gives the students a free student version, and then we have our instructors that are able to use the bigger version of Fusion 360 to validate their programs and the different assignments that they'll be doing with us. And so there's also some skins on Fusion 360, so it feels a lot like SolidWorks. So we're hoping that this will sort of bridge the gap, but we had to commit to one over the other, and this one just had a little bit more portability for students, plus also on their laptops or virtually learning. It just made a little bit more sense. So hopefully that makes sense. But please, if there's any questions about that, please pop them in the chat, and me and Stephen would love to answer those for you. So. Right. On to the next slide.
No, we'll go to the next slide. Okay.
There
Heather,
we go. Yes. All right. One other thing we wanted to talk about today was the mentorship training that AJAC offers. I know some of the employers that are here with us might have done mentorship training before, but if you haven't, we just really wanted to spend some time highlighting this. I think it's one of the things that can make an apprenticeship even stronger at your company, to allow that time to train with your leads and your supervisors so that they understand the apprenticeship program and their role in training those apprentices up as they're learning. So this is something that we can provide to you at no cost. We have historically done these mentorship trainings directly at your company with your leads and supervisors, whoever you would like to be a part of it. We can also offer this training virtually. We've done our mentorship training. We have a ton of curriculum on mentorship training, and it's specific to the manufacturing industry and specific to learning in the trades, right? Where it's a little bit different maybe than it might look somewhere else. And so this is something we can do. We have so much curriculum. We've done it for 2 hours at a time. We've done 4-hour trainings. So we're really flexible if this is something you're interested in, to work with you on, scheduling a mentorship training and working around your schedule, and just something that we can provide. Most of the time when we come in and do this mentorship training at your company as well, we'll cover the apprenticeship program that you have, so that your mentors and leads know what these apprentices are learning, what their on the job rotations are, how they can utilize any of the resources that AJAC provides, like our training checklists and things like that, just to help answer questions for those apprentices. And actually, Erin, I know there's a question at the end of this, but can you go to the next slide first, and then we'll do the poll.
There we go.
Because I did want to cover just some of, what does mentorship training include? As I mentioned, we're pretty flexible on the timing of this, but we talk about effective communication. There's a lot of different ways that we communicate, obviously. And so we talk about, teaching skills, teaching technical skills, and how to use different communication techniques in that, not just in speaking, but also in showing how to do the skill. And then at what point in time do you let go and allow the apprentice to test the skill out on their own? One of the big things we focus on is generations in the workplace, right? How do we work with, Gen Z as they're coming in? How does Gen Z like to learn? What things are important to them? And how to communicate effectively with all the different generations we have in the workplace. We also talk about how to demonstrate and explain technical skills. So, if your supervisor is trying to show an apprentice how to use a specific machine or complete a specific process, just some different, tools that they can use to try and figure out, learning is so individual. What works for that apprentice? What's the best way that they learn? And when do you see that light bulb, turn on and they're getting something, how to demonstrate and explain those technical skills. And then one of the biggest things we talk about too is just how to connect all of those things that they're being trained on to the bigger picture. This is something that's really important to Gen Z and millennials, and that's kind of ties into our generations in the workplace training. But why does this specific process matter in the large scheme of things in manufacturing? How does what you do here affect someone down the line? And we talk about different ways to, connect all of the things that they're training. And so one of the things we've been talking about with mentorship for a while, as the RPM team, we've been bouncing around the idea of doing a statewide kind of virtual, just like this, actually, a mentorship training, so that your leads and supervisors could join online as we're offering it. So I'm going to launch another poll. We wanted to see from those of you that are on, if that's something you'd be interested in sending your leads and supervisors to, if we were to host like a 2-hour webinar on mentorship and teach it virtually, if that's something you'd be interested in. This is anonymous, so if you hit no, that's fine. We just really want to gauge if there's interest for it. And then there's also an option there if you would like an in-person training too, if you prefer in-person over virtual. But we just wanted to get an idea of, maybe in the next quarter, this is something that we could offer to your leads and supervisors.
Excellent.
And so while you answer that, I think we can go to the next slide. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Heather. And I'm going to introduce Matt Feuchtbag. He is a great friend of AJAC and advocate for apprenticeship. And I'll have introduced himself, but we have a few slides for him. This is a great opportunity to have a guest speaker, which we haven't really had before at our virtual roundtables. So this is awesome. We're glad to have you here, Matt. Thanks. Kick it off to you.
Hey, thank you very much, Erin. Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to see just a very good number of participants. I mean, that's the beauty of being online. It's just so much easier to get people onto the roundtable. I just wanted, before I start, I just wanted to give you guys some feedback on the mentorship training, because Select Plastics, we have done this before, and it was really good for us, because when a company brings in the idea of having an apprenticeship program, it usually starts with maybe one individual in HR or the business owner, and getting the rest of the crew, getting the personnel on board, so to speak, and understanding what it really means, and really support the apprentices for that. The mentorship program from AJAC was really good. As far as the making it virtual or making it in person, I want to say that we really benefited from having it in person, because we came as a team, so to speak. Our whole employee group came, and we had a lot of discussion with the mentorship teacher as well, but amongst us during the training and after the training. So for what it's worth, just some information from me as being one who has been doing apprenticeships for a while, which pretty much takes me into now my intro. Matt Poischbeck. I've been now almost 3 decades as VP General Manager at Select Plastics here in Everett. We do custom injection molding and injection molding tooling. And we got involved with AJAC in 2013, when we really couldn't find a new mold maker for our tool and die shop, and decided at that time we need to do our own apprenticeship. And fortunately, we found AJAC, and AJAC provided that training for us, and that kind of put us on this trajectory of getting more and more involved in apprenticeships. Over the next couple of years, we learned about the youth apprenticeship AJAC was putting on, and that really got us interested, because being from Germany myself, I went through 2 apprenticeships in my career, and I did them as a youth. And so it's something which is not really very common here in the United States, as the average age of apprentices is, I believe, 28 years old. So a youth apprenticeship is kind of a lot of unknown to many employers. And if any employer wants to talk about youth apprenticeship to me, I mean, I would love it, because it's just it shouldn't be scary. You shouldn't be scared about it. So it can be done. You can actually put somebody who's only 16, 17 years old on the shop floor, and you can find some really, really great employees that way. And that kind of really takes me into this topic as far as getting engaged into the school, your local schools, your local school districts, your local high school, local middle schools, and get involved in their CTE, the career technical education. Can you do the next slide, please? So CTE comes really from the old shop class, which had been eliminated in many schools over years for many reasons. And so the shop class, as we all know, provided us all back in the day with hands-on training, because not every student is necessarily all about academic learning. A lot of students, they just get very bored by being exposed to just academic learning, and they just love to put their hands to work and work on some real world issues, put some stuff together, maybe build a robot or build a bookshelf or whatever it may be, or just learn something about CAD, which they have not been exposed before. The teachers in the CTE classes the career technical education classes are usually out of industry. So they are people who discovered that they want to be giving back to their community, so to speak, and they want to teach the students the skills they have been successful or their careers. And it's really important to have that connection because it builds that. Also talk about mentorship. It builds that kind of mentorship between teacher and student. Next slide. So why should a business person join the CTE advisory committees at these schools? For me, it was a no-brainer back then when I started getting into the youth apprenticeship and really learned more about how the schools can help to foster these programs. Number one, if you get to learn your local CTE teachers and your local school districts, you can kind of build a rapport, you can build a relationship with these individuals. And as you build this relationship, they will then kind of become more interested in your business. They will want to learn more of what you're actually doing, how you're doing it, and what you need to be successful. And uh, basically going to these committee meetings, which, yes, it takes time out of your day, it still it helps you to also collaborate with other individuals who have businesses in your area. Although I have to say that over the years, I went to many, many meetings, and I used to be the only employer at those meetings. There's usually a lot of educators and individuals representing government, but usually, unfortunately, I was one of the only ones. And I guess this is one of the main reasons why I'm talking to you all, to just make you more aware of these opportunities. Next slide, please. Once you get involved with your local school districts and your local CTE teachers and basically go to these meetings and get involved, there's just so many more opportunities how you can now become really getting closer to your schools. And one of the cool things is that you then, as they get to know you and your business, they invite you as a speaker or as a career panelist. And again, here you can share, for instance, what has made you successful? What was your career path? How did you get and how did you decide of what you wanted to do when you were young, and what did it take for you to get to this position, and what do you like about it and what do you not like about it? You can give some real world feedback to the students and the teachers who are present at those events, and really give some really good insight on industry trends and also industry expectations. What are you expecting from your employees when they work at your facility? This is a fantastic conduit of basically giving that to these individuals. And again, networking. You will meet more teachers. You will meet parents who are interested and want to get involved, and you just meet maybe your future employees. Next slide, please. Another great way to then get involved as you're getting more and more familiar with these schools is that they will ask you to support some competitions. And what you may not know yet, because you really haven't paid attention to what's going on in your school, your kids are out of school and you're not necessarily paying that close attention to K-12 anymore. However, there is so much going on. It's just amazing of what the schools are putting on in order to give the students something other than just the academic learning. And I don't want to just list all the different competitions because there's so many, yet there's always a need for community members, business owners, employees, co-workers to support these competitions as, for instance, judges, or as, for instance, coming in and just listening to students to basically come in for an interview, be basically provide a judge for a mock interview. So there's just so much you can get involved in, and it really doesn't take a lot of time. It's I know we're all busy, and it's hard sometimes to make time, but this is fun. You know, again, you're building relationships, you're meeting people, and I have to tell you, I've been a judge on many interview panels for students, and the bright students you're being exposed to is just amazing. And if you maybe had this prejudice of, oh man, our young generation doesn't want to work or doesn't want to do nothing, I have to rebuttal that, because that is not the experience I have seen by going to the schools. You can then also start supporting your local schools and your local districts with either financial donations or potentially with equipment, where again you might be able to get the local school or get the local skills center on a trajectory to specifically become a source for your future employees. If you're providing them, for example, with very specific equipment, software, machines, materials, direct them kind of in a certain way where you're giving them the tools which they will really need to fill the future jobs. And again, it gives the students the practical experience. It helps you to fill the talent pipeline, and it enhances your workforce readiness in these schools. Next slide, please. Well, I could go on and on and on, because there's just so many more opportunities where you can get involved, and it's really up to you to decide what suits you best, what is perfect for you. And but the point is, please find a way of getting involved. And so there's mentorship programs, there's curriculum development where you can get involved with, there's scholarships and grants you can participate with, there's professional development where you can again get involved and go to the schools and help out. And again, we're talking stay up to date on industry trends, enhance the teachers' effectiveness, and pretty much the ongoing professional development of the students while they are still in school. So lots and lots and lots of opportunities. Next slide, please. In conclusion, in my mind, it's actually really getting it's fun to be getting involved in schools, in skill centers, and get to know the teaching staff, and get to know the students, and really share some of the experiences you personally have, and which you think are going to be benefit for the people who come after you. And so again, I really want to encourage you to get involved, to make a positive impact on the future generations, and to really help to strengthen our local economy by just getting involved. And I guess you're wondering, how are you going to do that, because you have no kids in school anymore, and it's been a long time since the last time you stepped foot in your local school. It's as easy as maybe going to their website and finding their CTE department. Again, CTE is Career Technical Education, and maybe start with the CTE director and just either email them or give them a call and say, hey, I'm Matt Poischbeek. I have this very cool injection molding business, and I want to share my experience. And I can guarantee you, your next meeting will be scheduled right at that time. Next slide, please. Any questions?
I just added in the chat. Of course, you can always reach out to AJAC as well. We have great connections with anyone, with all of our CT directors in different departments and different districts. So just, we can also bring you along on a tour or figure that out as well. But let us know. I know that they want us and AJAC wants more involvement. We can do anything we can to work together is best. Thank you so much, Matt, for jumping in there. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
There's a comment in the chat for you there, Matt, too. All right.
And we're going to finish this off with Damien, or with Dennis, I'm sorry, but we have one more question on there. We're going to launch here. It's just, we've had interest or questions in the past from employers who wanted to connect with other AJAC employers, whether it's just to understand their, their experience with the AJAC program. Maybe it's a new employer who's just curious about getting involved, or, other employers who need new partnerships with different companies or supply chain or other projects if you want to work together. So we're considering putting together something like this, a directory or maybe an online chat format, but wanting to see if you're interested in connecting with other employers, aside from just doing networking events and roundtables such as this. We can figure out what that's going to look like, but I think this could be great. Okay, thank you for answering that question. And we're almost done here. We're going to let Dennis finish it out. Thank you.
Well, my slide will only take about 47 minutes because I speak very slowly. Now, we'll be done very quickly, as Aaron said here. We're just going to take a couple minutes and review the process for getting started. First step in this is an initial meeting. If you want to schedule something with your local regional program manager, you can discuss the training gaps, and then based on that, decide upon an apprenticeship occupation that will best fit your organizational needs. Second is program design. Based upon your needs, AJAC can create some internal tools and also a customized training checklist to make sure that your apprentices have the skills that are needed to benefit your organization. And third is college enrollment. This is where we get your students or your apprentices enrolled in a local college so they can receive their credits. And as you can see, the enrollment for the winter quarter is coming up very quickly, December 8th, 2023. But I do want to let you know that do not be discouraged from go ahead and getting your apprentices enrolled in programs. Even if they can't make the winter quarter, they can still accrue their hours and start in the spring semester. In fact, we had a lot from the fall that never made the fall enrollment, but they're starting here in the winter. So just want to encourage you with that. Next slide, Aaron, I think is really hard one for me. I don't know.
There you go.
And this is your regional program managers again. And if there's any questions at this time, I think we're going to open it up for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to answer Tom right there. Tom, if you don't get into the winter quarter, spring quarter is right around the corner. And we'll be enrolled. We can enroll year round. It's just based on when classes start. So winter quarter classes start the first week of January. So our cutoff is the 8th, really the 15th, to get people registered for winter quarter. And then if we miss that cutoff, then we can get someone started, enrolled, so they can start logging hours. They just wouldn't start classes until the following quarter, which would be spring quarter, which I believe is early April. So we can just continuous enrollment. So no worries there. But of course, if anyone is wanting to do it now, we can get them started as soon as possible. Great. And then the question from Brent.
Yeah, there was a question from Brent.
Does CNC programming course cover Swiss lathes and screw machines?
Like we are still developing some of these courses. And so we can look into that, or if there's an offering on Solid Professor on that. I'm not 100%. We might cover it, but it really depends. I don't know, Stephen, if you have any other insight.
Yeah, so we will cover turning programming. There isn't, specific machines that it'll be covering, but it'll just be turning in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there is that question. And then I think we did get the question answered about if they're able to post the code. And Steven, I think you did say they could.
Yes, so they'll be able to post code. There may come in a situation where they're only allowed so many lines of code, but we can work around that.
Yeah. Like I do know they can send pretty complex code to their teachers, and then the teachers can validate it and test out all the things and then be able to send that on. So if that helps with anybody's decisions on that. And then I think, was that everything?
I
Okay.
think so. If you have any more questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. I did want to, let me see if I can share. This is the first time we've done polls, so thank you for bearing with us as we learn. But it looks like the majority of people were interested both in a virtual Mentorship Matters training and also in that B2B directory. So just be looking out for communication on us as we work on getting those things set up. I think it's good to see that most of you are interested in that virtual mentorship training. Is something we've been talking about for a long time. So yeah, we will definitely be in communication with you on both of those things.
And still happy to do in-person ones as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Always happy to do in person.
Yeah. But sometimes we know that virtual is a way, if you've got a big company with different footprints, it can be a lot to try to get everybody together in one room. So, we want to try this out and pilot it and see if it's a good model. As we're trying to expand our rural parts of Washington state, like this might be a methodology we need to deploy to make sure that everybody's informed and you guys feel really set up to do internal apprenticeship programs in your organization. Again, always reach out to us if you want any subject matter help in building out programs internally. We're excited to really launch some new kind of cohort training with some bigger companies across the state this next quarter. And like I said, we're very excited for CNC programming. I think it'll be really interactive and exciting for our machinists that want to get on to the next level. And then, yeah, I think we did share out the AMP mechanics. So if you guys know of any companies that are looking for AMP mechanics or trying to train them up and get them to licensure, or any veterans that are out there wrenching around, but they don't have the credentials, please reach out to us. We're hoping to launch that program here in the next couple of quarters so that we can get that off the ground. So if anybody knows, that's kind of the airframe and power plant part of, maintaining all of the systems that are on an airplane. And so we'll be excited to roll that out here soon and hopefully share out more with you. So we just got that approved through the council. So yeah. All right.
And
hopefully you guys have a good
just one
holiday
final
season.
note.
Yes.
We do have a poll coming, employer survey coming.
Oh,
Please,
yes.
please, if you could just take a few minutes to fill that out for us. We
Look
really
forward
value.
2 weeks.
Yes, if we can, we're putting it together and finalizing it. So we hope by the end of the year it's coming. Please just take a few minutes to fill it out. We really value your opinions and your feedback. We can't do what we do without you. So we really would like to kind of take some time to kind of see where we're at, do some resetting if we need to, and really make sure we're meeting your needs. So please, if you could take just a few minutes of your time. It should be just a few questions, pretty straightforward. We'd love to hear your feedback on it. So if you could do that for us, we'd really, really appreciate it.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. We'll hang on for a little bit if there's any other questions, but I know you guys have a pretty big packed schedule. So, and we even got out early, so that's great. So hopefully you guys have a good lunch and rest of your day. And like I said, thank you guys for all being huge partners with all of us. I know there's a ton of you guys on the line that are massive supporters and champions in our area. So thank you so much for all that you guys do. We really appreciate all the networking and collaborations and grant writing and support letters and everything you guys do for us. So really thankful this holiday season for all of you. So, and it looks like Mike may have one more question from Brent. What time of day do you expect the courses to take place? They'll be just like our regular apprenticeship classes, Mike and Brent. So they'll be from 5 to 9. So after work, students can participate in that training. So, but it'll all be virtual. And we do recommend that students, have a place where they can access 2 screens. That will probably help with just their kind of overall, kind of satisfaction with the course and being able to kind of do Zoom lessons and then their exercises. And so just something to think about. So, all right. Well, thank you guys all so much for coming. And it's nice to see everybody here.